things my ex did and I still stayed. Part 2 from my new apartment. He tried to convince me a lot of times to use period sponges because his ex always used them and you still can have when you're on your period without making a mess. He never wanted to hold hands or kiss me in public, especially when we were in his hometown. The first time I've met one of his friends, he introduced us and his friend asked what we're gonna do today, and my ex said, well, we're gonna have sex. This was so embarrassing for me. We celebrated New Year's Eve at a club in my hometown and a guy just groped me, randomly picked me up on his shoulders, and I clearly didn't want to, and I screamed that he should let me down, and my ex was standing aside and did nothing and blamed it later on me that it was my own fault. In the same night, he let me go home alone by train because he still wanted to celebrate with his friends, even that I felt really bad and uncomfortable because of the situation that happened before. I had clearly an eating disorder and he still always criticized my body and my looks, so my ED got really bad during the relationship with him and a lot of my clothes looked wide on me and I also was really uncomfortable in my skin, so I tried to cover myself up, and then he called me a sack as a nickname because it's funny because all my clothes looked like a sack on me. When we started talking, he told me that he's half Spanish. After a couple of months, I got to know his parents and they were total German. So I was a little bit curious and I randomly asked him, hey, is your mom or your dad from Spain? Because they seem so German. And then he asked me, why should they be from Spain? Well, you told me that you're half Spanish. And then he said that he can't remember that he told me that. Maybe you remember the story from part 1 where he forgot to pick me up at a train station because he was too drunk from the night before. And it was my first time visiting him. I was in a foreign city at a foreign train station. I had no address because I trusted him and he told me that he gonna pick me up. Unfortunately, I got his mother's number from Google and she called me a taxi. And as soon as I arrived at his house, because he also didn't answer his phone the whole time, I started to cry. I told him that I'm so disappointed that he forgot me, that I trusted him. And then he got really aggressive and started yelling at me that I should never raise my voice against him when I'm in his house. So he blamed it all on me and made me feel bad for his mistake. He also never said sorry. Every time I'm telling these stories, I just realize how I can't identify myself with the person I was 5 years ago. She's a total stranger for me, and I don't understand what she found in him and why she stayed with him, because I can't name one single positive thing about this guy. Thank you for all your cute comments and messages, but I'm doing great now. I'm in a very happy, healthy, long-term relationship with the best man ever. And sometimes those things need to happen so we start to grow and we start to work on ourselves. And after this relationship, I started my healing journey and I made the biggest shift in my energy, in my personality, in my confidence. So let me know if you want a part 3, because there are also a lot of more stories I could tell you. And if you're currently going through a breakup or you're heartbroken or you're in a toxic relationship, everything happens for a reason, and trust me, it gets better.